Welcome back to Holistic Developer. Today we're going to talk about what does it mean to be an effective software developer. After hours and hours of thinking about this topic, there's not one secret sauce that will make you an effective software developer or an awesome person, or there's not one thing, but it's a combination of multiple soft skills and hard skills. And I came up with 50 tips and tricks that I want to share with you, with the hope that you will apply them to your situation and it will help you. So here we go. The first one, it is getting great at using Google. As a software developer, you have multiple tasks. Some you will know what to do right away, and some you will have to research and search on Google, use Stack Overflow and so on. So you have to be great, or at least getting better at it, to learn how to find the information you need, because there's so much on the internet and you need to be able to find what you exactly need. Continue learning and be a work in progress. You know, as a software developer, it's not that you learned a task or a skill and you forget about it and you're done for your life. No, software engineering, it's not that. You have to continue learning. You have to work on your skills. You have to practice. And even what you learned, you have to apply that time over time so you don't forget about it. Find a mentor and be a mentor. And you'll say, okay, I need a mentor, I'll take that. How about being a mentor if I'm at the beginning? Well, regardless of your stage, believe me, you can be a great mentor, because where you are right now, there's another person that can learn from you. So don't be afraid of being a mentor. And the great part of it is that you'll never know what you know until you have to teach somebody. At that time, you will realize that certain gaps in your mind or in your knowledge that need to be covered, that you need to pay attention to. Write clean code. And that's basically based on the premises of Uncle Bob's book. And let me see if I can find it here. So yeah, this is the book. So you can see I have a lot of bookmarks here. That Clean Code is definitely a book that any software developer should read. I definitely recommend it. Oh, by the way, it's actually, I believe it's signed by Uncle Bob. Yeah, it is signed by Uncle Bob. It's definitely a must read for any software developer. Under promise and over deliver. So it's so easy to get lost in what you have to do, and you have so many tasks, and it's so hard to estimate actually what it will take to do something. Try to under promise something and over deliver. Say that if you believe something that it will take 3 weeks, say that it will take 4 weeks, and do your best to actually do that in 3 weeks or faster. Don't be afraid to delete code. And that's such a hard one for most of the developers, because you feel like you're deleting your effort or what you worked on. The reality being is, in reality, that's helping you, because you write something and if you delete it and start from scratch, whatever you've practiced, whatever you just wrote, is not deleted with the code that you've done. The knowledge is still in your mind. The practice that you applied is still there. So the next code that you're writing, it's another iteration, and it will be cleaner, most likely, and it will be more performant. So never ever be afraid of deleting code. I know it can feel weird feeling to like deleting your code, but it's a good practice. Make sure to take time off. It's so easy to get burned out. It's so easy to get excited. Like, for instance, there's so many in my case, there's so many projects that I want to work on, and a lot of times I'll get so excited and I'll want to work on all of them, and I'll forget about what my body needs. The fact that I need to take time off, I need my brain needs time off in order for it to function properly. So make yourself a favor and take time off. Establish a work-life balance, which is practically you have a balance. You have time for when you rest, you have time for work, and you have time for play and time for family and so on, because you're not just a developer or a parent or a husband or a wife. You're all of that, and you have to find a balance. And the balance is not always so easy to find. And work on your communication skills. And you will say, well, I have to program. Why do I need to learn how to communicate? Regardless, you have to write comments in the code. And if you write good comments, it's a form of communicating with your teammates or the other people who will be in the code, and they will have to support the code. When you have to talk with somebody and explain the feature that you're going to implement, you have to be able to communicate that. Emails, talking with the customer on the phone, make a presentation. Regardless what you're doing, you still have to be able to communicate with different stakeholders, internal or external. Get involved with community. And getting involved with community, it's a great thing to network with other people, meet other people, and see what they're learning, what are their challenges. It's actually a great way of building a social capital, right? And whenever, you never know, sometimes there will be a new project that you're really interested in working in another company, and you know a person there, and you can ask them to introduce you. A great resource for getting involved in the community, there is meetup.com, which has a lot of different meetups in different areas. So that's something that I personally use, and I definitely recommend it. Keep up and don't give up. We talked about this multiple times. In tech, a software developer, we get challenges most of the time, and we never succeed from the first time, or at least practically never, right? It's something that you continuously try to apply, something that you learn, something that you experiment, and building this resilience that you don't give up from the first error, and you just try to come up with a new idea, try to come up with a new technology or another way of solving the problem. That definitely, it's a valuable skill. It will make you a better developer much faster than you would expect. Measure 7 times and cut once. And this is a saying from my country. The idea is that make sure that they understand what is needed, and when you're sure, then do that. So make sure that you get the requirements, make sure that you understand what is actually asked for, and after that start developing. My books fell off the shelf. Great. Ask and learn from your feedback. This is really, really grateful, because all of us, we have our blind spots. You don't know what's going on. You might know your strength and your weakness, but you don't see everything. So it's a good thing to have a 360 degrees feedback. Ask your colleagues, ask the people who you work directly and indirectly for feedback, and see where you're doing well and where you have to work, where you have to develop more. I do that practically once a year around the performance review period, so I kind of know when I write about my performance, I know where I am and what I need to work on. And I will tell you honestly, it's not always easy to hear that you have to work on stuff. One of the feedback I got is like, I'm jumping to the conclusion way too fast. Develop and have an open mindset. And that's not not easy if you started with a fixed mindset, but that's not set in stone. You can change that. So having an open mindset is the concept that we are not born with our skills, and we don't have a predetermined abilities, and we can do that, or you're talented and you will be able to do that. No, having an open mindset is that you're constantly trying to work and improve, and you know that anything you try to do, it takes time, and you can develop a certain skill as long as you keep doing and not giving up. 15, stay relevant. By that I mean listen to different podcasts. For instance, there's a great one that I listen currently is Developer Tea. I really like it. Another one, there's this Developer Live. There are many great podcasts, so I could probably talk on a separate topic on this. Books, great books, like I just mentioned, Clean Code, Working with Legacy Code, I really recommend, Design Patterns. Go to conferences and so on. Make sure that you're staying relevant. 16, build your support. And I truly believe this is important. A lot of times, I don't believe in myself that I cannot do that when it's a new technology that I have to learn. When I'm just tired, all of the time, I went past that only because I had a great support. I had people that believed that I can do, and they advocated for me when there was a new project, a new opportunity. And this is the one that I got the feedback. Examine everything before jumping up to conclusion. This is something that I have to work on. This is my weakness. I tend to jump to conclusion way too fast. I will research something, I'll get somewhere, and I will like, oh yeah, that's why. That's the bug. That's why it's not working. And in reality, yes, maybe that's a side effect of the bug, but not necessarily the root cause of the bug. So learn from that. Don't jump to conclusion way too fast like I do. This is something that I'm trying to work continuously on. Become an expert. And becoming an expert can be from a business knowledge side or from a technical side. So for instance, I am a subject matter expert in a specific module in the company that I work on. So whenever there's a new feature that is needed in that module, or whenever something is not working or somebody doesn't know how to use it, I'm the person that they're going to talk about, okay, is this feature, does it make sense to implement it? Does this module do that or not? We have in our company people who are experts in different modules, but also there are people who are experts in, let's say, HTML, web development, and so on, REST web service development. We are more towards the application development and not so much on the web development side. So having a person who is strongly knowledgeable in that is really good. Volunteer and give back to the community. You'll be amazed how many opportunities and how much you can learn from volunteering. Don't ever be afraid to ask for help. So when you Googled, you tried something and you still cannot figure out, something doesn't work, I guess it's time for you to go and ask for help. That's one of the tips that a lot of developers should learn, because it's tough to go and be vulnerable and say, look, I need your help and I don't know what to do here. But it's something that we all have to do from time to time. Allow yourself to experiment and fail and learn from that. I believe that's self-explanatory. Understand why. Why is really important. When you're asked to do something, understand why. I recently had a request for something and I was giving certain information, but I still didn't understand why. And I was keeping asking why. And after long conversations, we finally got to the why, and what I proposed was actually what they needed. Prior to understanding what they wanted, I proposed something, I did a mock-up, and they didn't like it. Said, no, that won't work. And it's like, I can give you what you asked, but I didn't understand what and why they were asking. Learn to learn. You have to be able to learn on the fly. That's important. Be happy and kind. Everybody's attracted to be around people who are happy and they have a great time and they are kind. So that's a good skill to have. 25, track your progress. Make sure that you are not stagnant. You're continuing to grow. Don't get comfortable. So if you have to implement a feature, a specific functionality, don't choose something that you're comfortable with. Choose the tools that actually are fit for the task. Own your mistakes and learn from them. We all do mistakes, and as As faster you realize that, and as faster you take responsibilities for the mistakes you do, the better you will be. Never, never, ever lose your side of curiosity. You need to be curious. Know your strengths and weaknesses and work on them. 30. Be a team player and be a supportive one. Whenever somebody from your team needs support or help, be the person who will help them. Learn to say no. And that's a one that I'm working on and I need to work on, because every time you say yes to something, you by default saying no to something else. And sometimes you don't realize that you're actually saying no to something that you really want to do. So be realistic about your resources. Being in tech, there's so many resources online. There are so many technologies that are coming up that you want to learn, but you have to be realistic about what you have and your strength and your time. Like for instance, I want to learn machine learning, but I really don't have time. And if I find time, let's say I will squeeze 5 hours a week somehow, but I won't have ability to apply that into practice. So that will be a waste of time. Practically, probably, maybe not so much, but the fact that I won't be applying that into practice, that won't be a good investment on my time. So if I'm going to do that, I need to make sure that I'll be able to invest it, to apply it actually. Be present and be intentional. Whatever you do, be there, be in the moment, and make sure that you are actually applying intention. When you're trying to work on something, you need to be focusing, right? So make sure that you are turning off all your distractions. These days it's so hard for me to get focused. And one of the reasons is because of the job that I'm doing currently. I'm a technical project manager at the moment. And that implies a lot of emails back and forth. And sometimes when I'm trying to work on a specific task, getting emails, it's so easy to get sidetracked. So kind of you have to work and make sure that you disable any distractions. If you have your phone that you get notifications, Slack, Viber, whatever you have, turn those off while you try to concentrate. Allow yourself time for fun. You have to have fun once in a while, so you will be able to continue with tasks that are not so easy and not so fun. Next one, appreciative work. You're doing a great job. You need to make sure that you're appreciating what you do. Next one, getting close to the finish line. Have the customer needs in mind. So whenever you are developing something, make sure that you understand what the customer needs and understand their limitations, because sometimes like when somebody's asking us, a customer asks us for a shortcut, and it's like, why do they need a shortcut? They just can do that within 5 clicks. Why do they need to do that from 1 click? But when you try to understand that, be in their shoes, you understand that they don't have the time or energy or so much stuff that they have to keep track of, and helping them, it will help you. So when you implement something, make sure that you keep in mind what they're asking about and how they will be able to use that. 38, be proactive. Don't be just reacting to everything that comes to you. Try to plan everything, try to schedule, and try to work on your goals and be proactive. Try to plan ahead. 39, make sure to give credit where it's due. When somebody's helping you or somebody done a great job, even if it's not your responsibility, make sure that you appreciate somebody's work and give credit when it's due. Learn design patterns. It's a really good skill to have. 42, contribute where you can. So if there's something that you see, there's a lot of bugs that they are never worked on, and there's a technical death or that I cannot pronounce anymore stuff. You are volunteering. Like, make sure that you're refactoring code. You make sure that you leave the code better than you found it. Don't multitask. Multitasking is never good. Check in often. Because if you check in often, you will have small changes that will accomplish one task, and it will be easier to progress and will be easier to make sure that you're not roadblocking anybody and yeah, you will feel good to have the small wins after you had so many probably hard times failing. Learn to ask questions. This is a really valuable skill, to be able to ask questions, because asking the right questions, you'll get the right answer. Collaborate with the entire company, meaning don't just be within your walls with the development team. Talk with the sales team and see what they need, what will help them sell the application. Work with the customer service, see where they're struggling with, or when you try to implement something and you don't know a certain functionality, since they are using that all the time, they might be able to help you. So it will be a both-way collaboration. Work on passion projects. And since I remember starting work, I always had a passion project. Learn to delegate. Sometimes you have so much on your plate that you cannot do everything, and certain things should happen. So learn to delegate stuff and learn to be able to help the person to get started. Never, ever, ever, and you heard me say this before in the previous video, never, ever compare yourself with somebody else. You never know what they went through. You never know how long it took them to get there. You never know the experience. So never, ever compare yourself with somebody else. The last one, and one of the most important ones, make sure to share your knowledge. Because by sharing your knowledge, you are opening your doors to yourself by understanding what you need to learn more, and by helping other being able to do stuff that you already know, and they don't have to reinvent the wheel. So here are the 50 tips that I wanted to share with you on how to become a more effective developer. So I would love to hear if you find any of this that you can apply. Leave your thoughts below. I would love to hear about your experiences, and I also will love to see what tips and tricks do you have on becoming a better software developer, a more effective software developer. So thank you again for watching and for staying with me until the end. And as always, I'm wishing you to have a great experience developing, and see you in the next video.